Welcome to the new Web 801 interview series. Today I'm interviewing one of my favorite people, someone that has influenced me so much in my career, got me to where I am today, and was a key part of me getting started as a digital marketer and entrepreneur. His name is Mat Siltala. Matt and I go back 20 years. In today's interview, which is part one of a two-part series, we're going to first talk about Matt's background, how he got started in digital marketing, where it's taken him. We're going to discuss the power of mentoring, because Matt was my mentor. He taught me all he knew, or a lot of what he knew, to get me to where I am. And we're going to talk about some of the trends Matt has seen in digital marketing, what a business needs to do now to get their website to the top of search engines. Welcome to today's episode. I'm with Mat Siltala, my mentor, my friend. We've known each other for almost 20 years now.
When you said that the other day in the email, I was like, holy crap, has it been that long?
Yeah. 2004, 2005 is when we met. When we started working together 20 years ago, what did you think was going to happen with me? I mean, I'm building a clogging shoes website.
I guess I was very optimistic back in the early days of the web that you could pretty much do anything. And I still think for the most part you can. I actually was very optimistic for you, but it wasn't because of it was the product, the clogging or whatever. I mean, you could have come to me with anything and I'd have been like, yeah. And the reason was because I saw the drive that you had. You had a passion and an itch and just and I don't want this to be taken the wrong way at all, but almost an annoying drive that like would not allow you to fail, if that makes sense. And it was pretty motivating, but that's kind of, when we were jumping all into it, I figured, I'm like, you know what, this guy is so driven and so motivated that all I need to do is help him a little bit, guide him a little bit, give him some of the tools that he needs, and whatever he's doing, he's going to be successsul.
Thank you, man. That means a lot to me. Tell us a little bit about your background. How'd you get started?
It goes back to around 1997. So I used to work at a radio station, and I was a co-host on a morning country show, if you can believe that. And I was going to college for computers back in the day. They didn't have any kind of like marketing degrees or anything like that. And so I was actually going for computer information systems, something I can't even remember. But because I was in the computer field, the higher ups at the radio station, the guy that I used to do the morning show with, they were all like, oh, hey, you're into computers, you can do our websites. And me being the idiot that I was back then, like, oh, sure, not a clue, never even opened up a Cold Fusion or a Dreamweaver. That's really dating me, but never even used any of these programs. But I'm like, sure, let's do it. And so I ended up designing and creating the websites for the three sister stations that were there. In that process, just learned a whole lot about, this was back in the day, dude, where you could literally put a keyword on a homepage or a link to something and rank because of it. I mean, simply, even if back then you knew how to do title tags or header tags or things like it, like if you put in the keyword that you wanted to be found for, like you would be found for it. It was easy. And if you wanted to go even more black cat back in the day, you can, hide your text and match it with the color of your background and really spam the heck out of, some of those engines that were of the day. But anyway, just stuff like that. And just, figuring out the little things and the stupid things to make, oh, hey, I did this and we started getting a whole bunch of traffic, or, I changed this keyword here, or I did this there and it tanked, or it did better, things like that. And so that's really kind of where I credit my background in SEO, not even knowing that it was SEO at the time. I was just designing a website and playing around with stuff and trying to do it for the radio station that I worked for. That's really what I credit my background to with it.
Matt was my mentor back in the early 2000s. We worked at a company that taught people how to build online businesses. And I was a sales guy there. I saw the success Matt had with some of his students, the ugly face rodeo gear. We'll put a plug in for them. I met those people and I'm man, they're selling rodeo gear online. I could do that. I'm not a rodeo guy. But how did you get into the mentoring world? Because, that's how we connected.
Well, it just, so happened to be through a series of events, jobs that I was working, things that had happened. All of a sudden I had an opportunity to work for this coaching company. And I don't know that I necessarily was out job hunting, wanting to be a life coach or a internet coach or a whatever coach. But through a series of events, I found myself in the position where I was able to talk with a lot of people, such as yourself, and I realized how much I loved it. But I also realized in doing it, I learned so much from other individuals, because a lot of people that I talked to, they may not necessarily have known what they were doing online per se, but they definitely had, quite a few of them had a background in business, and they just wanted to, expand that to the internet and whatnot, back in the day before it was like it was now. And so, like, I learned a lot from those people, a lot from talking to them, and it was just fun. When I would work with someone for, 1 or 2 months, and they would already be coming back to me, whether it was like a simple eBay sell, or whether it was something that, we had them do or change to their website that was already existing. When they come back and say, hey, I sold 2,000 units because of something that you had told me to do, or I made this change, and all of a sudden my traffic jumped from nothing to, 1,000 or 1,500 a month or a week or whatever it was. That's the kind of stuff that fueled me, just being able to talk with those people, those individuals, and work with them. And that's really how I got into the mentoring side of it. And obviously, that drove me. When I'd see the success of other people with their businesses, I wanted to continue to grow and expand mine. And I'd be talking to someone about a certain topic, and then all of a sudden it would spark an idea in my mind and be like, oh, like, maybe I should try that. And not everything I threw at the wall stuck, but that's really where the drive for me started with it all.
Just to give you a summary of how so I built the clogging shoes website, clogon.com, because of Matt. He taught me how to do keyword research, how to do, how to find suppliers, drop shippers. That business ran for 9 years. I was making about 40,000 a year paying my mortgage because of that website.
That's awesome.
Selling clogging shoes. All I sold was clogging shoes. And, the only reason it stopped, partly because I started getting into more digital marketing, but my supplier died, and they wanted me to take over the supplier side of the business, because I was their top salesperson, because none of their other suppliers knew what they were doing, really. Wow. So that's all thanks to everything you did to mentor me. I appreciate it.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I had no idea that it had gone that long.
Yeah, it went for a long time, and
seems like it paid a lot of your mortgage too.
It did. It paid all my mortgage at the place we lived at before. Yep. So it was great. The rest of the story is I eventually became a mentor. I followed in your shoes. I became a mentor. I actually started in tech support. Then I got into coaching like Matt. Then eventually Matt and some of his colleagues went on to do bigger and better things, and I took the role of the manager of the coaches. And then in 2010, I left, again, following Matt's footsteps, to run a digital agency and to do what I do now. So all because of that first mentorship with Matt. What are some of the big changes you've seen lately that are influencing how SEO is evolving as an industry?
Well, you're right. We touched on it briefly. It's definitely not as easy as it once was. Here's the deal. I think Google or any engine, they have always tried to make their focus be about quality, whether they have whether they have accomplished that goal or not. And a lot of people laugh at Google, though. Back in the day, their motto was "Do no evil," and I think a lot of people think that they're nothing but evil now. But me included with some of the things that they do. But for the most part, they have always tried to. Their focus has been about quality, and so there's always going to be people that are trying to game the system. But I think that one of the biggest changes is it's not as easy to game as it once was. And so you have to actually focus on doing good work. To answer your question specifically, one of the biggest changes that I see right now is them wanting, whether it's they're wanting or whether they're just doing, or whether this is my perception of it, but I see them turning and becoming an answer engine. And and again, when I say that, because a lot of times, well, no duh, Matt, every time you search on something for Google, you're looking for an answer or whatever. But I'm talking more about from the focus on a digital marketer side or an agency owner. and we're working with clients and they're trying to figure out the kind of content that they're coming up with. Whereas before, we could kind of just throw up anything, whether it was fun related, an infographic, a viral video, a whatever, and just not really think about like the focus behind it. But now it's more of a answer driven. If I'm not producing content or video or an informative infographic or whatever it might be that's answering someone's question that's related to their business, I don't think that I'm going to go very far with what the direction that Google's going. And so whether you want to call it them turning into an answer engine or whatever, but I do see this huge shift of content being more answer driven, more websites and businesses that focusing on that side of things. They are going to do better and they're going to be the ones that get more rewarded.
And what are some of the most common mistakes you see businesses make when in regards to SEO?
I hate to answer it this way because I've been answering it this way for the last 10 or 15 years, sadly, but they're not taking care of the basics. I mean, they really aren't. I'm not kidding you. You're going to shake your head, but just this week I was looking at a website and the title tag still said home page .html or one or whatever. And so it's like, the technical side of it, going in there and making sure, and see, that's the problem. Like there's a lot of systems out there these days that make it easy for just the idiot to create a website, but they don't know to go into the back end. They don't know the things that you need to do on the technical side to make it to where you're found. And so again, just they fail to set up the simple things like their Google business accounts. They fail to get anything right on their local, answer I can't tell you the amount of times the pages that I come to and I'm just trying to go and look at their basic information, like when they're open, and you go to their Google listings page and it doesn't have anything listed. You don't know when they're open, or someone else has put in information and you call them up and they're like, well, we're not open on Tuesday or whatever. And it says on your website you are, but they might have had someone fill that information in for them. And so it's just not owning that stuff, I guess you would say, not taking an ownership and having a dedicated person or even themselves going and making sure that all of that stuff is done correctly, if that makes sense.
I hope you liked part 1 of this interview series with Matt. If you did like it, give it a thumbs up. If you have questions for myself or for Matt, leave them in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos like this one, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned for part 2 of this interview series, where we're going to discuss expectations for SEO, what a website needs to be most successful and best optimized, and much more. Thanks for watching.